please hit that subscribe button. Hey everybody, better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live.
Hey everybody, so it's time for another lineup video, and I really hope you guys are enjoying these because I am certainly enjoying making them. These are really fun to do. So we're going to switch over to the Western Conference today after doing a couple of Eastern Conference teams, and we're going to be looking at the Calgary Flames' possible lineup for their play-in series against the Winnipeg Jets. I'll just go through, some different things that I would do if I were setting the lineup, what I think that they'll probably do, and just where guys might slot in on this roster. And tell you, without even doing this yet, defense is going to be interesting because Calgary has a slew of depth defensemen that they could possibly work into that lineup. So this is going to be an interesting one. Before we begin, I just ask that you please subscribe if you are new and hit that thumbs up button and give this video a like if you haven't already. And let's switch over now to the cap-friendly screen. And yeah, let's take a look here and see what we might have here with the Calgary Flames heading into the play-in series. So obviously the top line, this is easy. Lindholm, Monahan, Gaudreau. This has been their top line for a couple years now. And very good first line. They're not going to break them up. Second line, this has been pretty well what it's been lately for Calgary. Matthew Tkachuk has switched over to the right side, Backlund in the middle, and Andrew Mangiapane has actually played pretty well in a top six role on that left side of the second line. So I think their top six is pretty well set forward-wise. I think this is what it's going to look like. But after that, we get into the depth guys in the bottom six, and there's a little bit of more moving parts that could possibly happen. So I would call Derek Ryan the third-line center. Him and Jankowski are both depth guys, but I would say that Derek Ryan is probably your third-line center, with Milan Lucic on the left side, as he has been all season, and then Dylan Dubé on the right. I think that, he's a young guy with a lot of potential, a lot of upside that is good to slide into that spot there and brings you a little bit more offense than Sam Bennett, who I have on the right side of the fourth line with Mark Jankowski. And then you have Toby Reeder over here on the left side rounding out your forward group. And then they've got a whole bunch of extra guys. Zach Ronaldo, who played a little bit this season. Ryan Lomberg, he was in the AHL, but he'll probably get a call-up. We've seen him at the NHL level a few times before. Byron Froese here, depth center, just another call-up. Austin Zarnik, a call-up. Buddy Robinson, he played a few games this year for Calgary. Those are just depth guys that they'll, obviously with the expanded rosters, they'll be able to call up and have. But I don't see them and any of them getting into the opening, or not opening night, but reopening night starting lineup. I think Bennett's obviously going to be there, but in a depth role. Jankowski, down the middle, they're pretty well set. Monahan, Backlund, Ryan, Jankowski. That's not. Lines are never set in stone, but that's pretty much set to how it's been for the Flames this year. And then I think, Reeder, maybe you throw Ronaldo in there. I mean, Ronaldo has played this season, but I would say Reeder probably gets the first look just because of offensive upside and the fact that he might actually be able to score a goal. And, you don't really need Zach Ronaldo when you have Milan Lucic in the lineup. If there's any toughness issues, I mean, you've got Milan Lucic, who's one of the tougher guys in the league. You've got Matthew Tkachuk. Obviously, he's a highly skilled player who you don't want fighting or being, in the penalty box all the time. But he can hold his own in that regard, as we've seen this season. And Sam Bennett as well is a guy who can stand up for his teammates if he needs it. So, as far as, just the physicality of playoff hockey, I think this team's in good shape. They don't really need Zach Ronaldo in that lineup. So I think he'll start at least as a healthy scratch. Moving on to the defense in goaltending here. Obviously in goal, this is easy. David Riddick is your starter. Cam Talbot is your backup, as it's been all season. Nothing's going to change there. Mark Giordano, obviously your number one top D-man. And I would say I think Rasmus Anderson is probably going to get a look there. Obviously, if you want to go with a veteran approach, you could put TJ Brody up with Giordano, and Brody has shown that he can play both sides. So Brody's a guy you could actually kind of move up and around this lineup because Brody can play both sides. Um, but I think Anderson is probably going to start with Giordano, and then Brody will play with Hannafin. Hannafin was injured at the end of the season, but I would think that enough time has gone by August, when this probably starts back up again, that he'll be fine. And then you have Hamonic and this is I shouldn't just throw guys there. I think this is probably your top four: Anderson, Giordano, Hannafin, and Brody. Whatever the pairs are, will be whatever they are. But those are your top four defensemen. Beyond that, things get interesting because Travis Hamonic missed a lot of time in the second half of the season with an injury. Again, with this much time having gone by, I would think that he would be back for the start of the play-in round, because I haven't heard anything saying that he wouldn't. So I would say Hamonic is probably back. And if Hamonic's healthy, he's in your lineup. He's not a star defenseman or anything like that, but he's a solid D-man. And if he's healthy, I think he's in your lineup. Then you have Oliver Shillington, who played quite a bit this year, but the Flames went out at the trade deadline and added two more defensemen to this lineup, where Michael Stone, not Mark Stone. God, why am I thinking about Vegas? Michael Stone is your, one of your depth D-men, but they went out at the deadline and they got Derek Forbort and Eric Gustafsson. And as you can see, as of right now, I don't have either of them in the lineup. It'll be interesting to see. I think Forbort is more likely to get the start or get a top six role than Gustafsson. Gustafsson did not have the year this year that he did last year when he had 60 points. With Chicago. He did not have a season like that this year. So maybe Forbort moves up here to pair with Hamonic, and then Shillington's out. But Shillington, when he's healthy, has been in the lineup for the most part. So that they have options there, or they could put Gustafsson if they want a more offensive D-man in the lineup. And another interesting thing, and I don't know if he's going to be available or not, is Sovalo Maki here. So Valimaki missed this entire season because he tore his right ACL, and he was going to be pretty much out for the year until we had the whole pause, and now it's been 3-4 months since anyone's played a game. By the time that this comes back, let's say this comes back at the beginning of August, it will be almost a full year since Valimaki's injury. So with that much time having gone by, it is possible that he could potentially be able to play because it's so much more extra time. Normally the season is over by now. Normally June 15th, the Stanley Cup is awarded. We are fully in the off season at this point under normal circumstances. Valimaki would have been out for the year for sure. But now with it going, into August or possibly even September, maybe Valimaki makes an appearance. He might be healthy enough to play. That's something I don't know for sure, but with that much time, it seems like it's a possibility. So now all of a sudden, you have a lot of defensemen here for the Calgary Flames as far as, guys that you can plug in and out of the lineup. And like I said, I think your top four is pretty well set with Anderson, Giordano, Hannafin, and Brody. But what they want to do with the rest of these guys, I mean, you've got 6 more defensemen here, and again, expanded rosters, so they can have, all of these players up with the NHL team. You have a lot of lineup decisions to make here. Do you want Shillington in? Do you want Forbort? Do you want Gustafsson? Do you want Hamonic? Do you want Forbort and Gustafsson as a bottom pair, and you're going to drop out Hamonic and Shillington? Again, Hamonic, I think if he's healthy, he plays. I don't see Travis Hamonic as a healthy scratch defenseman, but this spot is definitely an interesting one that they have a number of different guys that they could put in there, and it's an interesting lineup. I would say that if it were me, I would start with this group, at least game one, and that's going to be the thing about this is that game. Coaches are going to be quick to make changes because, it's do or die right out of the gate. You don't have time to wait for players to get back into the swing of things. You don't have time to wait for guys to show up. You've got night one or you're going to, be in trouble. So coaches are going to be very quick with lineup changes. I think if someone doesn't play well in game 1, they're going to be out of game 2 because you have so many other guys that you can throw in there and give an opportunity to. If someone, obviously, if Johnny Gaudreau doesn't play well in in game 1, they're not just going to throw him out of the lineup. But for a lot of these depth guys, if you have a bad game, there's someone right there ready to take your spot in the lineup. So, and I think that's especially relevant on this Flames defense, where you've got so many defensemen here who can easily just plug into that one of those bottom pair spots. So, I think at least to start. This is what it will look like, and this is probably what it will look like up front. I think Dubé gives you a good option there on the right side. You could maybe put Dubé down on the 4th line and put Bennett up on the third line, but Bennett has not given a lot offensively. I like Sam Bennett, and he's a good role depth player, but he has not shown a lot offensively in his career. I think Dubé's got more upside, so you put him on the 3rd line. And then you put Bennett on the 4th line. But again, they've got options with some of these depth spots. But for the most part, I think Calgary's lineup is pretty well set. And this is what it will look like, or something very, very close to this. So, yeah, that does it for my thoughts on the Calgary Flames lineup when it comes to starting the play-in round against the Winnipeg Jets. So, yeah, Calgary's going to be an interesting team. Very tough matchup against Winnipeg, but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. It's a very tight matchup. 2 good teams very evenly matched. So I think it's going to be a really, really fun series. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.